and welcome back to English Mastery Hub and our series Study English with Me. As I'm sure you know by now, my name is Karen and you are in Karen's Corner. Once again, I want to remind you of the slogan for our series, which was penned by Albert Einstein, who said, "A man who never tries anything new never makes a mistake." No, he said, "A man who never makes a mistake never tried anything new." And here at English Mastery Hub, we want to encourage you to try new things, to expand your English learning journey, to make it more exciting and something that you look forward to. I want to thank you again for your joining me in this video podcast, and I hope that you are learning and that you will continue to learn from these podcasts. Please stay with me to the end. I hope to make it worth your while. And remember, as always, to like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I would love to help you and make sure that you are progressing on your English learning journey. And if you are now familiar with our website, I hope you are making use of the glossary to expand your vocabulary. I continually find words that I'm not sure of the meaning and add them to my glossary. So I challenge you to do the same. This is the only way that you're going to improve your English speaking by expanding your vocabulary. We can learn all the grammar, and grammar is very important, but we also need to have a wide vocabulary, an extensive vocabulary, to be able to speak confidently to other people. And as you know by now, the glossary is found under the control panel. You need to log in to the website and then you can go to my glossary. So I've opened my glossary. This is my glossary and it is categorized according to just learned, words you're confident with, and words that you use on a daily basis. I need to redo my status levels because the words I use on a daily basis is the lowest of all of them. But that is because I am challenging myself with very words that we don't use very often, let's say, in everyday language. And so you also need to go and adjust the status here. So precipitous, I could say, I don't use it in daily language, but I do know what it means, so I can change the status to confidence. And if as you change the status, so expansion, I use on a daily basis, so I can say daily use, and abandoned, I use on a daily basis, so I can say daily use. Now, vertical, I do not use, so we will leave it as just learned. Go through your glossary, change the statuses so that you can get to a point where your confident level starts to move towards the just learned words. Okay, for today we are going to browse the web. So if you go to tips and tools and go to browse the web, it will look like this. And we are going to open the BBC. And the article that we are looking at today is Mortgages and AI to be added to the curriculum in English schools. You remember last week we spoke about AI and how it was taking over all different areas of our lives. So I found this very relevant, and I hope you will too, that learning about AI is to be added to the curriculum in English schools. I would like you to practice shadowing as I read the article because this helps with your pronunciation. It's no good knowing a word but pronouncing it completely incorrectly. So please shadow along as I read. Let's dive into the article. Mortgages and AI to be added to the curriculum in English schools. Children will be taught how to budget and how mortgages work as the government seeks to modernize the national curriculum in England's schools. They will also be taught how to spot fake news and disinformation, including AI-generated content, following the first review of what is taught in schools in over a decade. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson said the government wanted to revitalize the curriculum, but keep a firm foundation in basics like English, maths, and reading. Head teachers said the review's recommendations were sensible, but would require sufficient funding and teachers. The government commissioned a review of the national curriculum and assessments in England last year in the hope of developing a cutting-edge curriculum that would narrow attainment gaps between the most disadvantaged students and their classmates. It is said it would take up most of the review's recommendations, including scrapping the English Baccalaureate (EBAC), which is a progress measure for schools introduced in 2010. It assesses schools based on how many pupils take English, maths, sciences, geography or history, and a language, and how well they do. The Department of Education, DFE, said the EBAC was constraining and that removing it alongside reforms to another school ranking system, Progress 8, would encourage students to study a greater breadth of GCSE subjects like arts. The former Conservative School Minister, Nick Gibb, said the decision to scrap the EBAC would lead to a precipitous decline in the study of foreign languages, which he said would become increasingly centered on private schools and children of middle-class parents who could afford tutors. Other reforms coming as a result of the curriculum review include financial literacy being taught in maths classes or compulsory citizenship lessons in primary schools. More focus on spotting misinformation and disinformation, including exploring a new post-16 qualification in data science and AI. Cutting time spent on GCSE exams by up to 3 hours for each student on average, ensuring all children can take 3 science GCSEs, more content on climate change, better representation of diversity. The review also recommended giving oracy the same status in the curriculum as reading and writing, which Charity Voice 21 said was a vital step forward for teaching children valuable speaking, listening, and communication skills. Let us go back over our article and discuss some of the words to add to the glossary, some of the terms. The first word we're going to discuss is mortgages, And I'm not going to add it to my glossary. We are just going to discuss what it means. Let's scroll this down a bit. A mortgage is a special form of secured loan where the purpose of the loan must be specified to the lender. So you go to the bank, the lender, and you tell them, I want to buy a house or a piece of land. And they give you a mortgage, which you have to pay back over an agreed period of time. And that helps you to buy your house. Okay, let's carry on. We all know what fake news is. Let's talk about a cutting edge curriculum. What does that mean? Let's see if we can luckily get both the words. So the cutting edge in its basic form means the sharp edge of a blade or of a knife. These teachers do not say that the school curriculum is going to have a sharp edge of a knife. What it means, it's an idiom. To be on the cutting edge, it means to be at the forefront or a position of greatest advantage in some field. The company prides itself for staying at the cutting edge of technology, to be at the forefront in some system. So they said they are hoping to develop a cutting edge curriculum, which would help people to be at the front of the system. They're going to do maths and science, and they're going to eliminate some others. However, the former Conservative school minister said the decision, so he did not agree with their decision. He says the decision to scrap would lead to a precipitous decline. Going back to our glossary, a precipitous decline. The word precipitous means a steep, sudden, quick drop, sudden, precipitous. In other words, he was saying it's going to have a bad effect on the study of foreign languages because students will stop learning foreign languages, and he thinks this is a bad thing. Now I want us to look at misinformation versus disinformation. I wonder if you know the difference. I'm going to tell you anyway. Misinformation is where somebody has the wrong idea and they put forward information which is wrong. But disinformation is information which is wrong but is intentionally spread to confuse people. So disinformation is bad. Misinformation, you don't get the right information, but it isn't intentionally done. Whereas disinformation is when they intentionally spread fake news to confuse you. Okay, so because this article is talking about something that has not yet happened, it is talking in the future tense. And you see, children will be taught. They will also be taught. So we're talking about future tense. And if you go to the grammar course under courses and open the grammar book on slide 21, you will see that we are looking at the future tense. Subject plus will plus verb gives you the future simple tense. We will travel to Paris next summer. Positive. Negative. He won't join the meeting. And then when you want to make a question, you take your normal sentence and just invert the subject and will. So you put the will to the beginning of the sentence. Will you visit us tomorrow? That's how you make it into a question. There are signal words that we use with the future: simple, tomorrow, next week, next month, in the future, sometime soon or later, in a few minutes, just now. These are signs that we are talking in the future tense. We also use the future tense to make decisions while speaking. You're sitting in a restaurant, the waiter brings you the menu and says, "What can I get you?" And you look at the menu and you say, I will have a flat white and a croissant. So you make the decision while you're speaking. You can also use the future simple tense for predictions about the future, promises, uncertain plans, or hopes. Scrolling to your next slide, you will see a conversation between two people talking in the future tense. What will you do this weekend? I think I will go hiking if the weather's good. I will probably stay at home. Would you like to join us if we go hiking? Sure, I will let you know. So you can see that we there have the future tense. And that is all that I have got for you today. If you would like more grammar lessons or sign up with one of our teachers and expand your English, you will not regret it. Now, the tip that I said I would give you if you stayed to the end. The difference between will and am going to. What do you think is the difference? If I say to you, we will travel to Paris next summer, it is a uncertain plan. I think we will travel to Paris next summer. However, if I have bought my aeroplane tickets, paid for my hotel accommodation, I no longer necessarily say I will. I say I am going to Paris next summer. It is a fact. It is definite. I've paid a lot of money and I'm going to make sure I don't miss my holiday in Paris. So that's a tip as to the difference between will and am going to. Thank you for being with me again today. Remember to drop any questions into the comments section and I will answer them in future blogs. Thank you again. Bye-bye.